David Dotson here, fellow entrepreneur, author, and developer of the E-Promise, a process to help you realize the promise that entrepreneurship holds for you. Hey, today we're going to talk about why SMART goals suck. That's what I said. You might want to turn the video off right now, but I hate goals. Now, I've got some other options for you. I've got another proposition for you. But honestly, I suck at SMART goals. Maybe that's more what I should say, right? You know, you're going to come to the beginning of the year here. If it's, well, right now I'm shooting this in December, so you're going to hit this in January and you're going to go, you know, how many of those New Year's resolutions did I go after? And you're going to feel more like a failure than a success. And I would say if you're in the corporate world, I get it. SMART goals is a way of measuring and keeping control of you. It's a control system. We're going to make sure that people have SMART goals and they achieve. Where the hell is the inspiration in that? If you're an entrepreneur like me, now granted, some of you may not be like me, but hey, you work off inspiration. When you're inspired to do something, you probably get your attention, and it's pretty easy to do, and you get this great momentum in your business by doing those inspired tasks. Otherwise, they're just tasks, right? And at least for a lot of the entrepreneurs I know, particularly the creative types, they aren't necessarily going to do what's on the list, and they're not necessarily going to sit down and go over the SMART goal every day and follow it. Now, there are personality types that are very good at SMART goals. I happen not to be one. So if you're like me and you want to look for another way of getting what you want in life, I'm going to present that to you right now. And we're actually going to go into a training briefly to kind of go over what I like to call inspired work plans. Now, by all means, I am not suggesting that you just lollygag through and you do whatever the heck you feel like, and you wake up in the morning and think, well, you know, maybe I'll do this today, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. And no, I know you're not going to get anywhere that way. You're going to end up fractured and unfocused and just not being able to get anything done. But what inspired work plans do is they take you out, you know, a couple weeks to a couple months of action. And before we go into that, we want to make sure that they're going in the right direction. And you might have heard some of my other videos, but I talk about what the vision, what is success for you, right? Are you headed in the direction? Is your life and your business heading in the direction that you want, right? And are you thinking through the resources and you're evaluating what you're working on? But if I can help you, if this process can help you work inspired, my proposition is you're going to get a heck of a lot more done. You're going to do it better, and you're going to do it with more passion and joy, and the end result's going to be much more impactful. So we do need to make sure it's going in the right direction, and we do need to make sure we have inspiration for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do short-term action with long-term vision, right? So if we combine those two, we're going to explore that a little more. So let me pull up my chart here. I actually have one of my workbooks and you're going to have a PDF you can download here. So what is inspired action plan? So first I want to define the specific inspiration. You know, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? You know, why am I trying to do this? What are the outcomes for me, right? What's in it for me, right? Well, I'm inspired to do this. What's in it for me? Does it help me realize the promise that I'm trying to realize in my own life? And also, you're enthusiastic about it, right? And you want to evaluate, is it the right thing for your business? Is it taking your business and meeting the strategic needs of your business? Because if it's not, then we're talking about hobbies here, right? So we want to vet that fully. Also, once you get clear on it, yes, I'm inspired to do this, and yes, it's in the right direction of my business, and yes, it's going to benefit my business, and yes, it isn't going to harm my business, or I'm not going to ignore the duties and tasks that my business demands. Once you kind of vet that out, you need to get leverage. Not leverage on your business, you got to get leverage on you, right? How are you going to get yourself to do this? I've had people ask me, well, geez, I want to do this, but then how do I get me to stay on track? Well, you make a commitment. And the first thing you do is you go out and you make a bold commitment. And one of my clients, he's a doctor, and he had a 2,000 square foot office, and he made a very bold, a very exciting and bold challenge to himself to build a hospital or a larger, go up from 2,000 feet to 6,000 feet. Well, he signed a lease. That was a bold action that catapults all of that into happening. You don't have to worry about how, you have to focus on why, as I say all the time. So if you know why you're doing it, you know you're impassioned to grow the business, he made a commitment. So you don't have to don't go out and sign a lease right now, but do look at what action could I take right now, today, that will essentially trigger this inspired action into process. Maybe that's making a phone call. Maybe if it's education, it's signing up for the class. It's making that phone call to a new customer. It's taking some small action. When I started doing workshops, the first thing I went to do is I went to two people and I sat down with them and I said, hey, this is what I'm passionate about. I have this idea. Would you like to join me? And I got 2 yeses. And with those 2 yeses, we set a date. And you know what happened? I led my first ePromise seminar. And the way I got leverage on me was to get those commitments. Once I had the commitment from those people, I had somebody I had to do this for. I started to get out beyond myself. And it had a life of its own then. Then I knew I was committed. Then I knew it was self-fulfilling prophecy, as they say, right? So you need to look at how you get leverage. And again, you can download this on the PDF. And then let's look at some of the action steps. I'm not one of those to get into all the minutiae and all the steps. Because if you do, some of you will, because that's just your style. But a lot of us, give me some good blocks. These are the couple, if I'm going from here to the store, I got to pass a couple roads on the way. How do I get to that first road, right? And what's going to get me to the store? How am I going to get past those few blocks, right? So take some action steps, and these aren't whatever I'm going to do for the next 5 years. This is what I'm going to do for the next month, 3 months. So then we look at your role in this process, right? What am I going to do? What's my role? What passionate skills am I going to use? And what role am I going to play? Because we all have our role, whether we're the entrepreneur, whether we're the operator, or we're the creative in this process. So you want to define your role, make sure you're using your passionate skills, and then look at the team. Again, we talk about organizational development. What's your entrepreneurial team that's going to help you? What kind of consultants or advisors might you need? What people in what employees need to be involved in, and what are their roles? And make sure that you have an organization or have a team that's going to support you in achieving that. And then you want to look at finances, right? I want to make sure that maybe this is a commitment that has financial implications, and I want you to look at those as well. I don't want you to go out and commit to a $50,000 inspired project and realize it wasn't a smart investment, right? So we want to vet that out fully and then look at success markers. What's going to tell me that I have really fulfilled my commitment to myself of this inspired action? So for me, it might have been when I did my first seminar, for example, I had the inspired action to do the workshop. So once I got the commitment and leverage on myself, I also looked that I had to invest in different things. So I had to invest in consultants to help me, and then I had to invest a lot of time, right? So I had to make time and commitment and make sure my other business obligations were fulfilled. And my completion was to actually give the seminar. And I was done. I finished. Now that was the directional light. It supported all the things I wanted to do in my life. But again, it wasn't a SMART goal. It was an inspired action. And anyway, I encourage you to download this. I encourage you to take this process and start looking at how do you live an inspired life? How do you work in an inspired way? So, in summary, start with inspiration. I want you to start with inspiration and then validate it with your business, validate it with your person. Is it meeting where I want to go in my life and in my work and my business? And then focus on the big blocks, not the minutia details. What are the big blocks that are going to get me there? And then move forward in the right direction for you, because you are the author of your life, you are the voice, and you are writing the script of what success looks like for you in business and in life. And I encourage you to constantly take inspired action. Once you achieve one plan, then that's going to lead into the next and take you to where you want to go in business and in life. So I hope this process has been helpful for you, and I hope this is one more step that helps you realize the promise that entrepreneurship holds for you.